The wealthiest people knew how to invest in themselves without spending money, and using this method, they achieved everything they wanted. This will help you free up time, improve your thinking, and boost your productivity. You won't spend a penny, but you'll save money and get better results at work. Have you ever noticed that sometimes your brain just slows down even when you don't have much to do? Why is it sometimes hard to focus or come up with a solution, even though it used to be easy? It all comes down to mental load. In the 1960s, psychologist George Miller realized that a person can hold about 7 items in short-term memory. This idea became the basis for further research, and scientist John Sweller began studying how our brain processes information. He identified a key concept that explains how we solve problems and learn. This concept is called mental load. It refers to the amount of information we can hold in our minds at any given moment. It's similar to how a computer behaves when it's overloaded. It starts to slow down. For example, you're working on a computer and it starts to load slowly, or text in an email appears with a delay. That's overload. The same thing happens with our brains. The more information you try to hold, the more resources your brain uses. Because of this, it starts to work more slowly. It becomes harder to learn something new, harder to focus, or to think creatively. The energy you could spend on important tasks is wasted on processing excess information. When your brain gets overloaded, it's like a traffic jam. Our brains have many neurons that transmit information to one another, but there can't be too many of them, or everything slows down. When there are too many signals, the brain starts to slow down. That's why there's a limit to how much information it can process at once. When too much information starts coming in, the brain can't process it fast enough and begins to work slowly. Everything that's out of place, from an untucked shirt to a scratched watch or things you forgot to return, increases this load. All of this takes up your attention and prevents you from focusing on what's important. The lower the mental load, the easier it is to enter a state of flow, because your thoughts are fully focused on the task at hand. Imagine that every object is a piece of information that your brain must recognize, evaluate, and decide what to do with. Where should I put it? Does it need cleaning? Is it time to replace it? These small decisions pile up and increase your mental load. The more things you have, the more energy goes into processing them. As a result, your attention is scattered and it becomes harder to focus on what matters. Every single item in your life takes up your attention, even if you don't notice it. Take your pair of sneakers, for example. You spend time deciding what to wear them with, where to store them, and when to clean them. That's just 20 seconds a day. Seems like nothing, but your phone already takes a couple of minutes. You have to charge it, update it, and use it. An expensive watch, it might take 5 minutes. You check on its condition, admire it, and worry about it, stressing that no one steals it. Now imagine buying a house or a boat. That's hours of daily attention, cleaning, repairs, bills, security. And in the end, when things pile up, it's months of attention spent. The more things you have, the less energy you have left for what really matters. That's why the things we own start to own us. But here's the thing. Most people have far more than just a pair of pants, an iPad, a watch, a boat, or a house. Their homes contain hundreds of items: clothes, toys, furniture, electronics, books, old photographs, musical instruments. On average, a person has about 300 items in their home. And while it's hard to calculate exactly, there comes a point when your attention is completely consumed by your possessions. In extreme cases, they become an extension of your identity, and any threat to your possessions begins to feel like a threat to you personally. And that's only part of the problem. As mental load increases, we have less energy left for productive work and creativity. This reduces the quality of our thinking. Deep thinking occurs when the default mode network is activated. This is the area of the brain that works when we are not engaged in tasks. But if our minds are cluttered with thoughts about our possessions, this process breaks down on 2 levels. First, we start thinking about what we want to buy. When we acquire something new, the brain releases dopamine, the pleasure hormone. This system once helped our ancestors survive by motivating them to search for food. Today, it kicks in when we buy things. Second, after a purchase, we spend our time not on reflection, but on managing our possessions. Where to put them, how to care for them, how to use them. Neurobiologists call this the endowment effect, when an object we own seems more valuable to us. In the past, this mechanism helped people conserve scarce resources: food, clothing, shelter. Today, however, it diverts our attention away from important tasks, socializing with people, and achieving our goals. Imagine that your default mode network is a garden where your best ideas grow. Every item you own is a weed. With every new purchase, the weeds multiply. The more time you spend caring for or worrying about your possessions, the more they spread, crowding out the flowers, your creative thoughts, reflections, and decisions. Simply put, the things you own begin to control you. Over time, they fill not only your home, but also your attention. As Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the author of The Theory of Flow, said, acquiring and maintaining objects can easily fill a person's entire life, leaving them no time even to use those things. When this happens, things lose their original value. Instead of making life easier, they begin to shackle the mind, tying it to useless tasks. But what if you got rid of all this clutter? What if you cleared the space and focused all your thoughts, like a samurai, solely on your work, your goals, your main purpose? Then you would experience the flip side of ownership. You will gain the freedom to enter the flow. You've probably heard of minimalism as a trendy lifestyle, but you may not have considered how it relates to your ability to enter a state of flow. Every item you own is like an open tab in your brain's browser. The more tabs there are, the slower the system runs. Minimalism allows you to close the unnecessary ones, freeing up your attention and increasing your ability to focus on what matters. Another benefit of minimalism is fewer distractions. You no longer need to spend time searching for, sorting through, or organizing things. Along with this goes the hustle and bustle, stress, and minor irritations that, like pinpricks, raise stress levels and hinder concentration. The less noise around you, the easier it is to immerse yourself in the flow. Minimalism helps you become more productive. But how do you achieve this? How can you use minimalism to work in the flow and be more effective? How do you transition from maximalism in consumption to maximum productivity? Do you need to sell everything you own and live in a car? Do you need to give up everything and never spend money? The good news is that you don't need to become a full-fledged minimalist to work in the flow. Instead, you can minimize only what prevents you from focusing and keep what you need for your success. There are 3 levels of minimalism: radical, moderate, and minimal. Which level suits you? Radical minimalism is when all your belongings fit into a single backpack. For example, a laptop, a t-shirt, shorts, socks, a toothbrush, and so on. The perfect example of this is Steve Jobs. He wore the same black turtleneck and jeans to eliminate unnecessary distractions and focus on his work. At one point, his house was almost empty, containing only the bare essentials, a lamp and a sleeping bag. This helped him channel all his energy and creativity into developing Apple, which made the company the most valuable in the world. In my secret channel, I've written a list of things that can be useful for achieving a state of flow. This list depends on your profession, but overall it includes only the things that minimalists who want to achieve their goals need. You can find the list via the link in the description. Intermediate level. The second level of minimalism is moderate. If you live in one place, you'll have more things than an aggressive minimalist, but that doesn't mean your home is cluttered. Moderate minimalism includes furniture, plants, appliances, and dishes. Everything you need for a comfortable life. You need most of these things every day, but there are also some that are used less often, though it's nice to know they're always within reach. Minimal level. In this case, you're not quite a minimalist, but you're also not a materialist or a maximalist. You simply recognize the value of your belongings and their impact on your mind. Regardless of what drives your desire for minimalism, family, children, health, hobbies, or something else, you have more than just the bare essentials, but every item is chosen with care. You enjoy what you have, and it makes your life better, but you are fully aware of how it affects your productivity. An example of such a life might be a family home, thoughtfully furnished and decorated. Every item is chosen based on its usefulness or the joy it brings, despite the awareness of the mental load. Therefore, there is no such thing as an ideal level of minimalism. It depends on you, your values, and your goals. People have different attitudes toward how much mental load increases due to owning things. But when you decide what level suits you, remember that you can only handle a certain amount of mental load over the course of your life and allocate only a certain number of units of attention. Gather absolutely all of your belongings. Clothes, electronics, books, accessories, boxes of odds and ends, everything. Move it all to the most spacious room so you can see the scale. When things are scattered in different corners, it seems like there aren't that many. But when you pile everything in one place, you realize the true volume and ask yourself, does this item give me more than it takes away? If not, keep it. If so, get rid of it without regret. Most people only think about what they gain when they buy something new, but rarely consider what it will take away from them. If you want to maintain minimalism, be mindful of these hidden costs. Before buying something, it's helpful to pause and ask, is this short-term pleasure worth adding yet another item to your life and complicating it? Maybe there are other ways to find joy without increasing the number of things you own. Minimalism is a conscious strategy used by many successful people to enhance focus and boost personal effectiveness. You can start with a simple step, getting rid of the excess and bringing your space into balance. When you re-evaluate your relationship with your belongings, it becomes clear. Each one demands attention and drains your energy. It all depends on your choice. You can free yourself from the mental burden created by excessive possessions and channel your energy toward achieving what truly matters. Minimalism is the art of letting go in order to rise above. And if you want to improve every type of intelligence to become wealthy, click on this video.